Hello everybody, I'm 8-Bit Steve, and this is another 8-Bit episode of Steve's Quest. This is game number 169, Magic Johnson's Fast Break. As probably most of you know, Magic Johnson was a pretty big deal in the 80s and 90s. He was one of the superstars of the NBA, so it only makes sense that he got his own video game, and here it is. Now, I have played worse basketball games, but this one's pretty bad for a couple of reasons. Basically, most of the characters in this game are faceless. You can't even really see them, so the sprites are really bad. The gameplay is pretty crap because when you're on defense, you walk way faster, at least it seems that way, than when you're on offense. It's really easy to steal the ball in this game. The way to win is basically just stealing the ball from the computer. So in this first quarter here, I'm just kind of trying to figure out the best way to steal from the computer. And the computer will constantly steal the ball from you and just trap you. Like, look how fast he is, and he's pressing against me constantly, trying to steal the ball. I can't even get away from him. Rarely do I pass the ball, because as soon as I do, if there's a computer character next to me, he steals the ball. And they can even steal on the inbounds pass and just kind of score on you in a loop. So a lot of this is just trial and error right away. So it's pretty awful. There are backcourt violations in this game, which I think is a horrible thing to do when you can steal the ball so easily. It's really easy to accidentally go across the half court line and get a backcourt violation. Also, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to whether the ball goes in or not. It's like a 50-50 shot, it seems like. It does seem more likely the closer you get, but later on you'll see I find a couple of timing patterns to start hitting some threes and get ahead of the computer here. But as you can see there, I just kind of walked up and tried to shoot. It just bounces off the rim. Rebounding is nearly impossible against the computer. They'll just constantly catch it and eventually score. And if you try to steal the ball too aggressively, you'll get a defensive foul. And there are no free throws in this game per se, but when you get a defensive foul, the computer gets to take the ball out of bounds, which is usually better anyways. As you can see there, he just infinitely rebounds it, and nothing I can do. Alright, so a strategy that I like to use, and I'll use this in the later quarters, is when you get the ball, you want to hug the bottom edge of the screen. It prevents the computer from getting underneath you and stealing the ball. It's a lot harder for him to steal it when it's above you for some reason. The programming tries to get below you. So there's that. All I'm trying to do here is keep in range of the computer as far as points wise, because I'm down 5 right now, and it's really tough. And he's gonna, oh, luckily, I can't believe it. So see how I'm at the bottom here? Now he did steal it, but I got a lot farther across the level before he took the ball from me. Now I'm down 7, soon to be 9, and there's 9. But there's just no substance here. All I'm doing is running down here and trying to score and trying to constantly steal the ball, which is irritating. And the computer seems to know exactly when you hit the steal button, it'll change directions in human reaction speeds. It's just a pretty rough game, and the graphics don't really make any big difference to the game. Now, one cool thing is that you do get to see Magic Johnson's face there. He does say stuff like "nice bomb" or "3" or "defensive foul," whatever. So that's sort of interesting, but other than that, not a whole lot of stuff going on here. There's no campaign mode or tournament mode or anything like that. You just kind of play single match exhibition matches, and that's really all there is. I'm just going to skip through all that. It's just stats from the first quarter. Nothing going on there. So now that I've talked about Magic Johnson's Fast Break and told you everything that you ever wanted to know about this horrible title, I'm going to continue on to talk about what's been going on with 8-Bit Steve. So, like I said in my Rygar video, I am on the staff of Gamers with Attitude, and we're doing a whole lot of cool stuff coming up here pretty soon. There's an event called, there's a company called Off-World Arcades. They do an event every month in Detroit where they bring arcade machines and retro consoles and give away prizes and stuff. It's a really cool event. I'm going to be representing Gamers with Attitude at that event this coming Saturday. And we want to do a lot of stuff there, but it's kind of short notice. Today is Monday night, and so I have a phone meeting with them tomorrow to discuss what we can do on site there. So we only have a few days to kind of plan for it. So I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to plan what we're going to do for that, which means we can't do any promos on the website. We can't promote it really like we want to. So we're probably going to start off with something a little smaller for the first event, and then the next month we'll make the promo a little bigger. But we're definitely going to be interviewing the owner of Off-World Arcade. That's going to be posted up on the website. And we're going to try to do as much as we can. I want to do an 8-Bit Steve promo there where I challenge some people to play some of these hard games and they can win prizes. So there's some stuff going on there, but the main point is that I am the representative for Gamers with Attitude at these events, and I'm going to start doing a lot more of them to help me get exposure. Now, a really, really, really big announcement is coming soon for Steve's Quest, and I haven't even posted this on my Facebook yet. I just finalized it today. There is a media expo in Dearborn, Michigan that is coming up at the end of this month on the 29th, which is the Saturday. And it's usually a pretty small expo, but something interesting is that a YouTube gamer named Corn Shack was a late add to the expo, and he posted it on his Facebook, which I am obviously a part of. And I messaged his Facebook and said, hey, I responded to his post and said, hey, are you going to be doing signings and pictures and stuff like that? And he said yes. Sorry about my phone, guys. Let me actually turn that down before we get a bunch more of that. Okay, so yeah, so he's going to be doing signings and autographs, whatnot, and pictures. And he also said, hey, I'm going to be hanging out afterwards if anyone wants to hang out. So I started, wheels started turning into my head, and I went to Gamers with Attitude and I said, hey, let's try to get an exclusive interview with this guy, on site at the con, because we're already going to be doing coverage of the con. So basically, I'm going to be going on site at this Media Expo. We're going to be taking lots of pictures. We're going to show really cool stuff at the Media Expo. It's going to be a huge exposure for the Media Expo. It's going to open up Gamers with Attitude. It's going to give me as a character some room to pass out cards and let people know about what's going on with me, and also pass out stuff about GWA and promote them. I'm also going to get to meet Cornchak, which is a guy that I've been watching for a really long time, and he got really, really big recently. He's got about 17,000 and a half YouTube subscribers, and he's releasing a lot of content. He's got a couple world records for speedrunning, and he's been at several cons and expos recently. So he's getting really big. So to have an exclusive interview, we have an exclusive interview with him. So I organized with Gamers with Attitude an interview with Cornchak. So we're discussing details in email here, and we'll be getting that pretty soon. But I'm going to be going on site there, taking a lot of pictures, having him sign my box copy of 8 Eyes, which is a game that he has a world record in, and I'm going to be interviewing him on the show. And hopefully we can become friends, and I can talk to him about stuff that's going on with my show and whatnot. And just, hopefully he's a cool guy, and he seems like he is. And we can have some good stuff going forward. What I really like, and obviously I'm sure every gamer would like, he has huge exposure on his channel, and he's kind of a realist. So if he likes what I'm doing, hopefully he'll give me a shout out on his channel and expose me to his followers, and other people will come to my YouTube channel and my Facebook and get bigger, and hopefully other people will come to Gamers with Attitude so they can grow as a podcast. So that is a huge, huge announcement. I'm going to get huge exposure from this, and hopefully this is the catalyst that makes me larger than I am right now. But it's coming soon. So I've only been at Gamers with Attitude for a short time, but we've had a couple meetings. I've already had a pretty, what I feel, a big impact on what they're doing and what's going on. They have a lot of people, and they have a lot of passion. And they're going in a lot of different directions. So hopefully what I can provide to them is some focus on to which directions to go, or what I think is good. And so far that's worked out really, really well. We've come up with some really great ideas of what things that we're going to do, and skits and whatnot. And it's really all about having fun and the comedy of it, honestly. So big things coming for Gamers with Attitude, big things coming for 8-Bit Steve. You're going to see me at a lot of content expos. I'm going to be posting all of that stuff on my new website. It's going to be on Gamers with Attitude. It's going to be on my Facebook. It's going to be all over the place. Now, another really awesome thing is that Gamers with Attitude has a media marketing expert on staff. So he does that for a living. So as a part of being on the staff there, I get access to him. So he's going to help me with my SEO, my search engine optimization for Google, getting my hits up there, my YouTube keywords and things like that to help get me more hits on YouTube, and also drive traffic to my website, which in turn drives traffic to the other two things. So all of that is coming for me to kind of build my brand and get a little bit bigger. I already told you guys about the video blog series coming. There's other 8-Bit Steve stuff that I want to do coming up here. So lots and lots of projects and planning and whatnot, trying to get things going. So those are the big announcements for 8-Bit Steve at the moment. Let's get back to what's going on here in Magic Johnson's Fast Break. So I'm up by 5 now. Oh, I make that 2. And as you can see here, I'm getting a lot better at avoiding getting the ball stolen. And I'm just going to start raining threes on the computer to try to get a huge lead. And I'm going to constantly try to steal, like I'm doing there. I'm just trying to position my guys in a good spot to steal. And then I want to go right in for the score. And that's really all this game is about. I can't even imagine playing this with 2 people. It'd be so annoying. You'd just be constantly stealing the ball from each other. And you can't even tell what's going on half the time. Like, you can't even tell where you're standing. It's ridiculous. Anyways, since this is super boring, I'm just going to keep talking about what I was talking about before. I am super excited to meet Cornshack and hang out with him. This is the first time that I will have met a successful YouTuber that is in retro video gaming and also a fellow speedrunner. So, I'm a little nervous, but at the same time, like I said, excited to meet him. I'm working on the interview questions now, and that's got to go through a review process with Gamers with Attitude. And I'm excited to go to my first con as an employee of a group where I can take pictures and post content and stuff like that. So that's really what I wanted to do all along as an entertainer. And that's the backcourt thing I was talking about right there, guys. Really silly. And as you can see, he just steals it immediately. Anyways, yeah, so the 8-Bit Steve brand is growing. It's going to get bigger, and as I beat more games, I think more people are going to flock to what I'm doing, and hopefully I can do more stuff in the future. I've some stuff that I've been thinking about doing, and this is just for the few people who are currently watching this now. I mean, maybe people will watch this after the fact, but I doubt it. Once I get bigger. The few people who watch now, the 10 to 15 people that actually follow what I'm doing, I have made some plans to record other systems after I'm done with the NES. And I think the plan is for me to start with some smaller systems, some systems that have only a few games on them. The first one is probably going to be the Virtual Boy, because there's only, I believe, 20 games, 14 to 20. It's either 14 or 20. I'm not sure which one it is. So I'm going to beat all the Virtual Boy games. You may ask yourself why. Well, mostly because I want to increase my resume. I mean, yes, Mexican Runner has all the NES games, but he has no plans to go further past that. I want to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep adding things to my brand and to myself. So I'm gonna do Virtual Boy to complete that. And it's only 14 games, so I definitely want to do Sega CD. That's a pretty untapped market as far as speedrunning goes, and also as far as content is concerned. So I want to sort of be the definitive source on that. And then I also want to start doing some Atari stuff. I looked into some Atari speedrunning, and I want to start doing that. The 7800, I'm sorry, the 7200 and the 5800 have less than 100 games, but the 2600 has quite a few. It's almost as much as the NES. But they're much shorter. There's not any of them that are going to be over 30 minutes, I don't think. So I can get through that library really quickly if I wanted to. But those are just some thoughts I have about going forward and things that I want to do with the future of myself. And And yeah, so I also want to, I have recorded some two-player co-op runs with my friend Stacy, and I want to continue to do that, but it's really difficult to do because her schedule and my schedule don't necessarily jive, and it just takes a lot of time to record something like that. But we are going to be doing more of that, and I'm going to release the two that I have, which are Bubble Bobble and Rampage. Those are coming pretty quickly here. I should have them out. I want to say next week, but things just pile up on me sometimes, and with the Game with Attitude stuff, it's tough to know what's going to happen. But I'm also in production with another project. I don't know if I'm going to pursue it or not, but I want to create a video series of how-tos. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to call it yet. Anyone watching that has any suggestions for me, please let me know. But basically, I want to do like a... So let me give you some backstory here. Back in the day, there was a series of books called How to Win at Nintendo. They also had How to Win at Nintendo Sports, How to Win at Video Games. It was made by Jeff Rovin. And those were pretty popular books when I was a kid, and a lot of kids had them. And there's also sections in Game Pro magazine and Game Informer that had how-to beats. They had, and Nintendo Power even had exposés on entire games like Zelda or Simon's Quest. So what I want to do is I want to do a modern take on that concept. Now, there are tons of facts and walkthroughs and video stuff out on the web to help you beat a game. And yes, you can do that. But you have to look at a lot of different sources. For me, what I've noticed beating all these games is, yeah, there's a game fact, but you got to read the whole thing. You got to take what information is relevant. You got to look at other videos. I mean, there's lots of stuff that's missing from every source. There's no one-stop source that has all the information that you really want to know about beating the game. And also, there's two different theories of thought. If you're trying to speedrun the game, you want every single glitch, every single piece of information. But if you're just trying to learn how to complete the game, there's not a whole lot of how-to videos or tutorials out there on how to actually complete the game easily and effectively every time. So my strategy is I want to create a series like that. And I'll get more into that into my next video. But for now, we're about to finish here. And I made a huge comeback and crushed the computer. Guys, that's Magic Johnson's Fast Break. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my rambling. I'll see you guys next game.